Hey there, I'm Ginny.
And I'm Monica.
And this is Hitting Her Mark,
Podcast for women in the arts, actors, filmmakers, artists who are passionately chasing their creative dreams,
while juggling the beautiful chaos of caring for the ones you love.
We're here to share stories, insights, and inspiration, proving that you can hit your mark without compromising what matters most.
So if you're ready to make your creative dreams a reality, let's dive in.
Gauri Prasad's artistic journey began with classical dance in India, which eventually transitioned her from stage to screen. Gauri has appeared in a number of well-known television series such as Lock and Key, Workin' Moms, and We Three Queens. She's also performed in a number of films such as Wedding Season on Netflix and many independent projects which have had successful film festival runs and award wins, most notably Rock the Cradle, for which she won Best Actress at the Canadian Film Fest. Gauri has also dipped her toe into producing and has even started a drama school for kids called Starlight Academy. Welcome, Gauri Prasad, to the podcast. I had the great pleasure of meeting Gauri in class at the Lighthouse Acting Studio led by Coach Angela Bashara. Highly recommend her. And it's just one of those things where the moms just kind of find each other, I think, sometimes, in a class situation in this industry. And we've sort of kept in touch here and there since then. Gauri is an actor who's been in a number of well-known television series shot here in Toronto. She's also performed in some independent projects which have had successful film festival runs and award wins. She's a writer with a manuscript in the works, which we'll definitely get into. She's dipped her toe into producing, and she's even started a drama school for kids. And she's a mom, which we'll also get into. So let's dive in, Gauri. We like to kick off every episode sort of starting from the beginning of your journey. So where did your artistic path begin for you?
It's been a very long journey. We come from the world of I'm from the southern part of India, so very ingrained in the whole, growing up South Indian thing is learning how to do classical Bharatanatyam dancing or some form of classical dancing. So since you're 3, here kids go to Taekwondo, like my kid, and we went to Bharatanatyam, we went to dance. That's where we naturally gravitated towards. So I was in dance and performing on stage since I was 3 years old. And then when I moved here as a teenager, there was some sort of touch point you always needed. And I didn't know of any classical Indian form of dance. But then I went in, and Bollywood dancing was very popular here at the time. So I figured, my sister and I, we went and tried a hand in a class, and that we latched onto Bollywood dancing because of the environment. It's cool, it's fun. It was not as structured as Bharatanatyam. Like Bharatanatyam, in terms of structure, is like ballet.
I see.
It's very structured. The movements are very precise. And during the time that I grew up, there wasn't really fusion dancing when it was related to Bharatanatyam. But Bollywood was so exciting, and it was fun, and the costumes were so cool and so
Yes.
And we wanted to be on stage in those sexy costumes. So that's what we did. We went and I did Bollywood dancing for years after that. And then every time I was on stage, I was always told, "You're such a great performer. Technique."
Yes.
But you're such a great performer.
But your spirit is so strong.
Yes. They're like, up here, fantastic. And then, the rest that the feet have to be together. And I'm like, oh man, I'm having fun. Don't worry about it. One of my dance instructors told me that, you should really look at performing arts more, just sort of expand. And then that's when I went into a class at Pro Actors.
Nice.
And I did an acting class. And I'm like, okay, people are telling me I've got performing skills, but do I really have it? Or, am I talking myself into something that I don't think I have? But the coach at that point, he's like, okay, we got something here.
All right. That's always reassuring.
Yeah, it was kind of validating. And then, it just, the journey took off from there. Acting class, and then submit headshots to go out and get an agent. I had nothing on my resume, and I was looking for an agent. But so it was, it was kind of like dark up there, but I did land an agent, and she was amazing. And she helped me. She literally held my hand for the entire process, and she helped me land my first gig. And then, you do the whole agent swapping business, and then life happened. So I had to take a back seat a little bit. And then I went out and looked for another agent, and now I'm with them and super happy. And that's where I'm at. So that's been my journey in a nutshell.
Amazing. And what were some of those initial like bookings? Like what was your first time on a set? Was it a commercial or was it like a non-union, like those docudrama stuff, which a lot of people kind of start out
Yeah.
playing? What was like sort of your introduction to being on set?
Booking was non-union where I played an Indian bride. So they wanted somebody in a sari for like 3 seconds of a scene. It was the last scene of the film. It was probably like the ending credits. So I wore my mom's sari. And
Aw.
then yeah, it was really nice. It was kind of a new experience for me, and all I had to do was hold somebody's hand, and pretend like I'm getting married, and that was it. And I thought that was the end of it, but they put me on the poster, so I was like, oh, okay.
You must have made an impression.
I think it was a sorry. I don't think it was me that much. I mean, I don't know how much holding somebody's hand and saying,
I mean, you did it very convincingly.
clearly,
So bad.
clearly, I sold the Indian bride, the child bride idea very well. So, but they did put me on the process. So that was my first, introduction into acting and learning terms. Like, obviously, I knew action and cut because I used to do commercials from dance company that I was with. So when I danced, got into the dance company, and there was a huge Indian international film awards ceremony that kind of traveled the world, and it came to Toronto, and they needed, and CIBC was, I think they were sponsoring it. Sorry, can I take names here? I don't know.
Yeah,
A big
absolutely.
a big bank was sponsoring the event, and one of the major banks wanted to do commercials, and as the group of dancers, we were part of the commercial. So I had experience being on set, but we were always very protected and sheltered, because our choreographer was the one who was giving us cues, and he knew how to talk to us in non-TV film and TV language. So that was the first introduction to film and TV, and being on a set. But where I was a performer, an actor was when I played the child bride.
I'm curious because you had been performing on stage and you did start to sort of take acting classes because performing on stage can be very different from harnessing your energy for on camera. So what would you say sort of prepared you to be on set to perform in front of the camera as well? And because it is a different medium, right? So how did you just learn trial by error kind of thing and slowly develop that way, or was it in class really?
The teachers, and major credits go out to Angela and all the coaches that came before that for me, because stage is big, and I was very big with my expressions, and I don't have typical film and TV sort of features either. My eyes are big, my nose is big, my mouth is big, everything's big. So it looked a lot bigger on camera. And when I was in class and when I started on camera coaching, that's when they said, bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. So I felt like I was doing nothing on camera the first few times, right?
I guess can relate to that.
Yeah. Like, your frame is here, which is what we're looking at right now. And then, it was a conversation when I would turn this way and have a conversation, but the director was like, I don't see the face. Can you
You're right. Oh, right.
maybe
So I gotta face the camera, or at least right.
just made me
Yeah.
angle myself? And he said, talk to the green sticker at the corner of the front, and that was new for me. So learning camera angles was all the technicalities of being on camera were so new, so alien and foreign to my body language at the time. So there was a huge adjustment phase, a huge space where I had to go in and be uncomfortable and learn to, just angle my eyes the right way. Don't open your mouth too much when you're talking. Use the lower part of your jaw
Oh my
and
God.
ease up
Yeah.
all of these. So much of it was just learning how to deal with not my body anymore, but my face, and channel the energy through my eyes. So a lot of times I used to talk like this. There was a
Yes.
lot of
Me
that going on.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, little things that you learn, because on when you're performing and somebody's taping you, you never really end up looking at the video to see what your face looks like. But on camera in class, they show you what your face looks like, and there's so many times where I'm like, ooh,
Yes, it's cringy.
it's so cringy.
It can be so hard sometimes to watch your work back, like, especially when, yeah, like, I'm like, "Oh my God, like, why are my eyes popping out of my face in that take?" Or like, yeah, it's all those things. And one thing that a note that I got a lot in the beginning was like, "You're catching flies." Like, my mouth would be open while listening. They'd be like, "Okay, close the mouth." That was the thing. I had a director go, "Ep," and I was like, right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm catching flies. So things like that, you don't even know that you do that are like, are
Which is one
there.
of the benefits of self-tape now, right? Because we get to
Yeah.
watch it over and then correct ourselves. Because I mean, before who knows? Who knows how I ever booked anything when we were live in the room? Because I was doing all of those things that I'm seeing
Yes.
now, like the blinking, the like, why? Why are you moving so much?
I tested to see how it read on camera before I went in the room. But now I would absolutely do that.
Yeah, now I
Right?
want to see myself on camera, see what
Yeah.
it looked like, and then I walk into a room. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful curse that we have though, because now that I walk into a room, I'm like, I feel like I'm on a set, but they're not lighting me for set, and I don't know, and I'm conscious about because when you're on self tape, I can light myself to look gorgeous. Like, this is
Mhm.
my angle. Don't look at me from here at all. My hair's on
Mhm.
this side. But when you walk into a room, and it's lovely because you have energy that you're pulling off of, you can look at your director, you can interact, and you feed off of them. But now it's like, okay, so am I doing this right? But am I lit properly?
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
always.
Are you
And
getting my
for-
good side?
Yeah, are you getting my good side? And for like darker skin tones or like caramel, like slightly shade, you're trying to think in those terms all the time when you're on camera.
Mhm.
Because not everywhere that you go do they have lighting for you. I mean, Milestone, we've been to Milestone so many times, and
Yeah.
it's just you're lucky if it's sunny day outside, and if it's
I know.
right,
Never even paid attention to that because
right.
I mean, I never see the monitor.
Yeah.
I try not to look, but I should.
Yeah. Could have just asked, do you mind if I just come around and take a look and see how that's reading?
Me, right? Yeah. Are you lighting me right? Like, I want to read well, but
There is a vulnerability to that, right? Like there is like even when you go on to set, even after you've booked the job, it's like, are they going to do my makeup? Like, am I going to look like a? You want to look and feel your best, and obviously some roles call for different, different aesthetics, right? Like so you while recognizing that, but yeah, there is a vulnerability. You have no control over any of those things. All you have the control over is your performance and what you're bringing to the table that day. So it's tough. It's
Yeah.
tough.
And have you found that sort of issue with like getting headshots with lighting your skin correctly and stuff?
no, I think people are understanding that you need a special skill. It does require a special skill and an understanding of a very textured skin tone where, I'm a different color here, I'm a different color here, a different color here. So that understanding has come about and I see it now.
I'm also curious, Gary. So you've been taking these classes, you're learning how to be a film and television actor. You've also had the opportunity to work on some very highly acclaimed Canadian TV series. So I'm really curious about some of those experiences as well. There's Working Moms is one of them, which is a beloved show for us fellow working moms.
Moms. Yes,
And
one of my favorite.
Yeah.
One of my favorite shows. And most recently, We Three Queens, which I loved that scene. Okay, so both shows nominated for a number of Canadian Screen Awards. What was your experience working on those shows? And at this point, we're obviously further along in your career. I do want to talk about the hiatus as well. We might have to go back there because I've had a hiatus and I'm curious about that. But let's talk a little bit about that, the Working Moms and We Three Queens.
Yeah. So Working Moms and We Three Queens were two varied experiences and both of them excellent experiences, I have to say, but two very varied sort of setups. And we could tell Working Moms obviously had funding at that point of time. So everything from, having cloud slippers for me while I'm waiting for my scene and, just waiting for Danny, who directed the episode as well. So that I was so lucky. So right from the time that Danny called, like second action for me to walk into the scene. So I was in cloud slippers, having the PAs on set. Hair and makeup was for me, for my skin tone, for my character, for everything. The wardrobe choices, beautiful, very structured environment. Danny knew exactly what she wanted, the multiple cameras, all of it. So the experience was amazing. So much to learn. She's can I swear on your show?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's fucking boss.
Yeah.
Danny Fine.
She's so
Killed.
awesome.
Okay,
Yeah.
she's She's a boss lady. That woman, the way she was directing, she was in the scene. She was, getting just yelling out instructions at production, just understanding her space, taking up space, owning it, but also knowing how to direct the actor. She was with her co-actor as well, and just giving all us instructions and directions. She killed it. I was amazed just being on set and being around her and her skill.
Mhm. Yeah, she's amazing. I have been taking a class with her for a few years now, and she's incredible. You learn a lot just by watching her work. So that's
Yeah.
amazing that you had that such a positive experience. That's
Yeah.
great.
It was an amazing experience. I felt like I wanted to do more than just be talent that day. I think that was my inspiration to do more because I was looking at her and I felt every single set I was on, it was because it was all unionized, all very structured, everything from lock and key to wedding season. Your talent is in a bubble. So you go into, you sign in and then you get into your trailer and you get your clothes delivered to you, your food is delivered to you. You were lucky if it's nice weather outside, you can sit on the stairs and have a chat with anyone else who's got their, trailer door open. But if not, you are being funneled from one spot, the walkie's on, talent walking, and then you're on set, you're waiting for your shot. You maybe get a few minutes of rehearsal time, or the director tells you what direction they want to see you in, or what they want to, but you're completely on set. Once you're done, pack, get back, process. So it's completely like a tunnel. You're very lucky if you can steal moments of joy or moments of conversation or create memories when you're kind of a day player.
If you get to stay for lunch, it's like a treat.
It is a treat, right? It is a treat. On the other hand, when I was on We Three Queens, the set was so intimate. Mike was amazing. He talked to us about every little thing. There were some really fun words we learned about because I haven't been exposed to gay porn more than I have been. It was
great.
It was so fun and so cool. And I'm a very curious person by nature. When we talk about my manuscript, you learn that I have a spicy side to me. So that's why I was like, give me the words. Lingo. So it was such a nice scene being with Danny. It was just because the show was so new. It was one of the earlier episodes. It was so great, and being with my co-actor Vicky, just feeding off of her energy. Both of us playing different parts, and just a very natural, cohesive sort of environment where we were allowed to play, and that was fun. And the writing was fun, and my lines were like, yeah. Say more. It was so much of that. So it was a really fun experience. And as far as experiences and enjoying your time on set and feeling fulfilled on set goes, I feel like both of them were so fulfilling, but so different in the setup of it. And now I'm so happy for Mike. I mean, he's been nominated for everything. So I'm like, is that
Great.
Exciting
Yeah.
stuff.
What would you say is the thing that you've learned from being a day player? Like, what's the biggest takeaway on, like, I don't know, just in terms of how do you prepare to be on set? How do you prepare? And then for your experience, on set, like, what are some things that you've learned that may be helpful to other actors who are just trying to even get to that stage of their career where they can be a day player?
Yeah. I think the first thing about being a day player, whether you're on Lock and Key or even Working Moms, know the lines down. That's the one thing we do not have. As a day player, you do not have the liberty to play with those lines. No, even if it's written incorrectly, no, the incorrect version of it. If you have the liberty to have a conversation with the director and say, can I see it in this way? It's not natural for me to deliver a line this way. Then yeah, go ahead and play. But no, because especially I learned that early on when I was on an early episode of Lock and Key. I don't even think it aired, or my part aired. I was on, and the directors are also, everyone on that crew was it's kind of like they have an A team and a B team. So it might have been the B team that was doing, whether it was camera or the director or anyone, the AD, they were there to deliver, and everyone is on set to deliver. And I think we forget to, as talent, yes, we're very precious and passionate about our work, but we forget that we're a cog in the machine at that point. So you have to be a team player and you have to deliver. And how we deliver, the first part of delivering is being on time, having your stuff together, but knowing your work. So know your lines, even if they're wrong, even if the sentence structure is wrongly done or you don't agree with it and it feels foreign to you, know your lines. That's the first thing. Second thing would be go back and look at the tape that you submit or try and recollect how you played the character. Booked you because of what they saw on tape. I got some working moms because of this. And my first take, I didn't do it. And Danny's like, you did something on tape that I liked. Can you do that again? And I was trying to recollect. And I realized on maybe the second take, because I went back and I remember I recorded it and I kept it on standby for me to reference. I went back and looked at the tape and I did this. She wanted.
Yeah. What a gift it is because a lot of the times, especially with some of these smaller roles, less than 3 pages, we're sending in 2, sometimes 3 takes.
Yeah.
And they're contrasting to have the director say, hey, this is the one that I like.
Yeah.
It's a gift because sometimes you're like, so which one? Which one? Got me here because I'm not sure. And because, maybe they didn't even see the other ones, right? Because the casting director chooses the take. And so, yeah, it's a gift when the director comes right out and it's like, there's this thing.
Yeah. That one little thing.
I feel like that's a legitimate question, though. I think if you have sent in drastically different takes for a part and you get the part, I think it's fair to be like, so which one do you want me to show up with? Like, do you want the crazy lady or do you want the more grounded lady? I don't know. Just tell me so I'm ready and I can show up.
Yeah. Which take did you see?
Yeah. And which second in that take do you want me to repeat?
Right.
Boy, which part?
Me help you.
Fair question for us.
Love to touch on some of your film work. So one film that stands out to me, which you've done some really exceptional work, Gauri, was Rock the Cradle, a very powerful short film about a new mother who's essentially dealing with postpartum depression. She's stuck in a place of darkness, doesn't know how she's going to get out. Gauri also won Best Actress at the Canadian Film Fest for that performance. Congratulations. Can you tell us how this project came to you, how you prepared for the role, and what was your experience filming it? Because it was pretty heavy.
Yeah, that was very, very heavy. So Rock the Cradle is directed and written by Aziz and Armin, 2 sisters. And Armin wrote Rock the Cradle. I think, she was the first one who actually wrote Rock the Cradle because she was sitting in the hospital after her delivery alone during COVID. And she just wrote about her state of mind. And I think it was in a blurb or a poem. She hasn't shared it, so I'm still itching to read it. And that's what Aziz and Armin created into a screenplay and got funded. And Aziz directed it. Aziz and I knew each other from a previous audition I had done before a film of hers, I think one of her earlier films. So she had me read it even before they got funding or applied for anything. She had me read it. And I had very visceral reactions to the lines on the page. They jumped out at me. I was also postpartuming hard at that time. So by the time we got into filming, I wouldn't say I was a new mom, but I was still dealing with life because life threw a major curveball at my family at the time. I had a baby, lost my dad, lost my brother, lost my second pregnancy. So it was, now I can speak about it way. But at that time, I was in the trenches and the character of Pari came to me at the most perfect time because she helped me heal. And just having conversations with Aziz about how real she wanted Pari to be just gave me that outlet almost because we suppress a lot of stuff thinking, okay, we just have
Yes. Oh my God.
Kid wants this, baby wants this, do the drive, be the Uber driver, be everything. And then in the midst of that, and the one thing that Aziz said to me is we auditioned. So she had a bunch of auditions and both her and I were weeping by the end of my audition because we did the one scene that's not in the film. And she had to switch off her camera. I had to take a moment and that's how I booked. And then when we got onto set, she said, Gauri, I just want you to stay with me. Don't go home. We shot it in Brampton because we wanted the story to be as real as possible. It was about a couple in Brampton and the social norms that go with being a South Asian couple living in a very South Asian community. So she said, stay with me, stay in our house. Don't go home. Don't be the mom. Be here with me. And which is kind of, great advice, but also I didn't understand at the time. She was like, I'm playing mom. Why would I not go home to be the mom? She's like, no, just stay here with me. So we stayed. It was I think a 3-day shoot. And I was already, if I thought about my dad or my child or anything in that situation, I would drop. My mood would drop immediately. But I also had to play it in a way where it could be read well on camera and not just, lose my shit and not be able to recover when she said cut.
Yeah.
So there was a soundtrack that I had for a party, and soundtracks are very, very important to me for any character. I build a soundtrack and I, go onto my app and I'll be like, okay, this is her, this is her, this is her, this is her. So that soundtrack, even today, if I hear it, it triggers me in some way. And we shot Wrap the Cradle quite a few years ago. Not quite a few, but a few years ago now. So that's the soundtrack helped me. Assis, there were some scenes, and the set it wasn't a closed set, but it was a quiet set where nobody was allowed to approach me, nobody was allowed to touch. I had to be in my space, and Assis, she's like, "You're safe. You're here with me. If you drop too fast, I will pull you out." So she had me in, and I was living in that pain, but still not deep enough where I couldn't recover fast enough.
Right.
For that entire 3 days. And she's like, "I will pull you up. I will pull you up. Don't worry, I will pull you up." And I had literally, she was the hand I was holding while I was drowning.
Yeah.
And there were scenes where she said, "Gauri, no, pull out, gone too far, pull out." And she would put me on the stairs and keep me in an isolated environment. She's like, "Just come out of that. Come out of your headspace now."
Were these things that you realized yourself, or did you ask for these things, like to be isolated? Did you recognize that you needed this, or this was all her saying this? I can see it.
This was all Assis. The idea of I didn't have any supportive input. I didn't say I need this, I need that. I didn't go in with a writer because I just wanted to play it raw. And that's the agreement that Assis and I sort of organically came to. But she constantly kept reinstating the fact that I was safe.
Yeah.
That was
So important.
so important.
Yeah.
Said, "You are safe. I will take care of you." And because I had so much trust in her as a friend, as someone who's been through the same thing, as someone who understands the cultural environment, and my postpartum journey did not, luckily, knock on wood, did not have the aspect of being a South Asian mom who's expected to do certain things. That wasn't my environment. But I had so many friends and women who had children in that environment. And like, it's literally like the mother is cast aside and forgotten. Now it's all about the baby, and the baby's here. But the mom has to eat. You have to eat your food. You have to. So all of that, luckily, it was very mild for me. But I had to be in that headspace where it was a very real monster sitting on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, going back to what you were saying, Jenny, it was she protected me. I would say that, and I didn't go in with an ask for anything apart from I want to deliver and just help me deliver. That's it.
Right. Well, part of it is like if you've never played a role like with this level of intensity before, I'm not even sure, like for myself, if I know what to ask for. I think I would just be going in saying, "I just trust you. I hope that we can work together on this, and I want to go deep, and I want to give you like you said, a raw performance." But you talked about healing as well, like somehow it being like a cathartic experience for you. Like it must be hard when it was done. Did you find it kind of stuck with you for a bit, or did you feel sort of like you went through something, or you worked through something? I don't know. How was that experience for you when it was over?
It was. It took me some time.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
It was a very intense 3 days of just being in that dark room. There's a scene that's been cut up into the short where I'm in this black room. It's this black space. It's sort of like Pari, she can't reach her daughter. All she hears is her baby crying. And she's trying to walk, and there's a red door that she's banging on. That scene was very cathartic for me because sitting in there, the set itself, it was just a black space with a red door, and the cameras wouldn't come close to me. They were on the periphery. I think like our cameraman said, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go in because I'm gonna get the energy on camera." But they sort of watched me like I was in the middle. I was gladiator just going to my death. It was kind of like that's all standing on the periphery, ready to protect me in whatever situation. But it was cathartic and also painful to get out of because I didn't realize I had that bit in me too. that bellowing of when you're screaming your child's name and she's screaming Sarah, Sarah, Sarah because she's not in her mind and she doesn't understand how she's screaming for this baby who's crying and she's clearly in a nightmare. It's like a fever dream. So I didn't know that there was that much pain in me that would come out. And when it did come out, I was like, oh, did I have that in there?
Yeah.
Because it was hard to process that I was suppressing that much pain, or not even suppressing. I just didn't acknowledge it. I didn't know it was there because all I was doing after, you have a baby, it's diapers and bottles and diapers and bottles, and
Yeah.
You're
Going
too
through
busy.
emotions.
Too
Yeah.
busy to analyze how you feel.
exactly. And you're just trying to function and learn how to be a mother to this life that you've given birth to. It was all like peaches and cream before that because oh, I'm just waiting for the baby to come. It's gonna be so much fun. No, you gotta learn, girl. I don't know how to raise another human being. Yeah, you can say your mom's there, but I'm also very independent and very fiercely independent as a woman. I'm like, no, I gotta learn this differently. And we have generational trauma. I mean, we all come from generational trauma. Unfortunately, it is from our mothers. So a huge part of me was like, you know what? I want to be a different kind of mom. So
Yeah.
a lot of what he was trying to teach me and help me with, I wasn't receiving because my brain just shut down there saying, I want to be a different kind of mom. Now, in hindsight, you're like, I could have listened to a few things.
There were some tidbits. There were moments.
Yeah.
But it's also really hard because you are coupled with someone else who is also supposed to take care of this baby, but their upbringing is completely different, right? If you're married to a man, they had a different mother. They grew up with, it's just a different experience, different teachings they have, different ways they do things. And then so that becomes a conflict. So then you're dealing with, your mom, your husband, your own inner struggle that you never really get time to figure out. So what a gift this was. I mean, it's so heavy, but you don't even realize what's inside until you go through.
Yeah, so true. And I mean, on my end, I had at satellite parenting coming in from India, you know, satellite grandparenting.
And how did your family react when you were like, okay, so I'm going to make this movie. I'm going to be gone for 3 days.
You know what? That was now that you're asking the question, it was the first time I actually left the house for 3 days. It was
So Monica and I both similarly, like at the beginning of our career, after we had our babies, we both sort of did that. I left for a week.
Yeah.
Monica was gone before the babies were up, back when they were in bed, and you were gone for 3 days.
I was gone for 3 days, and um, my mom lives with us, so I got lucky with that. So as far as being supportive with food and, bottles and things, my mom was very helpful with my husband.
Yeah.
He had to learn how to be a dad. He had to learn to be a dad. Well, he had to learn to be dad and mom because, the tantruming and the mood swing and learning what she was saying with this little being who's got a very loud voice and very demanding. You don't know what they're talking about. You don't know what they're saying because you haven't spent enough time with them, raising them. And so usually, the mom is the primary parent at that point. So my husband is very supportive of the career, obviously. But he was a little bit in shock at that time. He's like, 3 days. 3 days as me. 3 days of just, and he's fine with the diapers and the bottles, and brushing her hair and teaching her to blow her nose properly, or those little nuances that moms just will grab a tissue and wipe down the nose. Those are things that we have, we just have a natural instinct to do.
How do I give her a bath? She's a girl, right?
What
do I do?
What do I do when it's bath time?
Isn't it interesting how everyone gets to learn in those 3 days? Not just mom. Mom's learning on set and learning how to also be away from her family, also learning to do this role, to, how to prepare for an emotional role, learning about herself and her maybe even other traumas or experiences in her life. You're reconnecting with yourself because things come up for you while you're doing this work. And then dad is also learning. Dad is learning how to adapt, and that sometimes mom's going to also have to go away to work and do things. And how am I going to adjust? So I think all around, it's good, for everyone in some way.
It was a great experience.
It's a good learning experience anywhere that you go. I think mom should always just be like, I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. And for anyone who didn't see that, she did a peace sign. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I'm out.
It's break time. I used to be like, when it was bedtime, I'm like, it's 8 o'clock. I'm off the clock now. Like,
I'm clocking out. I'm clocking
pretend
out.
I'm not here.
I say that too. I'm like, I don't exist right now.
Pretend I'm not here. I don't, there's no more mommy. Mommy, I have a question. Mommy. No, it's the time is the time where I'm done.
I'll say like I'm clocking out. Daddy's clocking in. Like I'm on my way out. Right?
Yeah.
Do you
So
do the ask your
100%.
father?
Yeah, ask your father. And then he's like, I already did. He told me to ask you. I'm like, well, I'm not here.
I don't exist. I don't exist. My mama's gone. Mama went out for a walk.
Okay, moving on to now that we got that all out. I do want to touch on, because this is so exciting, wedding season. Was this like your Netflix debut? Like, how fun. You must have been so excited. So that was a fun one in terms of your character, but even like the production value, the wardrobe, it was so visually beautiful. How was that experience for you? That must have been pretty exciting.
Wedding season was the first big thing I booked.
Yeah, yeah.
My first big union job, first big thing I booked. And we went in, my agent called me at the time and she said, it's a 66-year-old woman, but they want to see you for it. And I was like, not, I don't know. Like, is there something you're trying to tell me? Well, I go get a facial.
You know what's funny? I also read for a role that was like,
Yeah.
I was supposed to be some mean old lady. And I was like, is that what I'm giving?
Is that what I'm giving? I mean, okay. And this is when, like, wedding season was what? It was about 5 years ago? No, 4 years ago. So I looked a little bit more fresh than I do right now. Okay, but then my agent was like, you know what? Just read. Who cares? And when I read her, she was so effervescent off the book. Like, she was killing it on the page. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can do a little bit more. So I put a little bit of baby powder in my hair with the first audition, wore like the really chunky jewelry from my mom's closet, and wore a hoodie, like a hot pink hoodie. And I was the most extra auntie you can ever, like, I didn't have an auntie like this in my life, but I wanted to be that extra auntie. And I showed up, and Tom, who's the director, was like, holy shit. Okay. and Swati, the producer, she's like, I think you need to tone down the accent a little bit, but it was so fun. And when I went in for there were, I think, 3 auditions. The first one, it was just the tape. The second one, it was, with Tom and Swati and the Netflix, CEO or the head of Netflix was on there. And
this was all Zoom.
This was Zoom
because it was COVID.
It's COVID life. So on Zoom, and they direct me, and then my agent called me right after. She's like, "I really want you, but you're up against an actual 66-year-old." Damn! And she's like, "Just put more baby powder in your hair. Go, just retape, do more baby powder, read, and then submit another tape." So I did, and then I booked it. And then when she called me, I just sat on my stairs, and I said, "I just booked a Netflix show, a feature film on Netflix." And it was just so surreal. And then when I got to set, that was even more surreal, because I went in for costume, like for fittings almost every other day before I was on set. I went in for fittings, and I was in these glorious, and I mean,
so beautiful.
And these were Sabyasachi. So Sabyasachi is one of the most premier Indian designers. Sorry, I'm holding the sari like a baby because I don't want it to touch the. And I'm like, Sabyasachi, this is worth a lot of money. Like, it's so grandiose. Everything was just obviously very big budget production.
Because this was Mindy Kaling, right? Mindy Kaling produced or something?
No, Mindy Kaling actually watched the film, and she was floored by it, and she made.
That's right. Okay, yes.
On
yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Twitter at the time saying, "Wow, wedding season." And I'm like,
yes.
I was in.
She saw me.
Yes.
She knows that. So that entire journey was just completely surreal. And I felt like that was the one production where Tom was like, just play it up. And I could go to him and I could go to Tom and say, Tom, can I just be inappropriate at this point? Like in a temple. We shot in a temple and I'm flirting with who's it was me. I can't remember it. He's like, yeah, just do it. Because so Tom was very game for a lot of things and it was fun. And so was Swati. So it was a great experience. Spoiled me for other experiences.
Yes.
Clearly being, landing a Netflix gig in the early stages of your I can't call it the early stage of my career. There wasn't enough work for it to be. Like I've been in the industry for long enough to know that there was no work for someone like me early. When I started to get work, I was like, okay, I got good work. So it kind of spoiled me for other roles, I have to say. But
That's
then I
awesome.
quickly came back down to earth after. I'm like, oh, this is not.
Well, I mean, that's the thing about this business. It is not linear. It is very humbling.
Yes.
Yes, very humbling.
It is definitely very humbling.
So on that note, just because you did, obviously you're getting, you're getting these great opportunities. So, and self-taping is the norm. So I'm curious, how do you approach your auditioning? Like, do you have a special way of working? How do you approach self-tapes, and what advice do you have for folks out there who are auditioning or approaching roles?
So my initial process was very different than what it is today, obviously. I used to labor over my scripts for hours, know them backwards. I knew all my lines backwards. In my sleep, I could recite my lines at the self-tape space. So I used to go in super prepared, ready, rehearse, do my tape, one take, and that was what I wanted. One take and I was done. And I went in, maybe I did 2 or 3 takes and I was done. I booked nothing with that process. And I'm not saying it doesn't work for everyone. I just did not book it because it was not organic. It was not personality driven. I wrote down a character and I played it to the T based on what I was seeing in my head. And yes, you have to make bold choices, but it wasn't free. And I realized that my performances are always the best when it's a little bit more open. There's more air in the performance. It's not so structured. I'm not delivering my lines like it's a robotic experience. And they want to see the character breathe a little bit more. So now my process has changed quite a bit. I read the script once or twice. And then I go in and I cheat a little. I know my lines, but I also have the prompter up. So, and with my reader, and I use the same reader for every single tape. One of my closest friends, Lib, she's in the UK, but she reads for me and she directs me and she says, you got to play. She changes up my performance every single take. And I'm not over prepared now. So I go in and there's a life in my performance. There's a little bit more play in my performance. And yeah, some of the choices are kooky and they're wild. And that's why I submit alts as well.
Right.
Completely. And now I don't focus so much on the breakdown. I don't even read it, to be quite honest, because I went in for a 66-year-old and I'm booked.
Yes.
Right. So who cares what they say on the breakdown? And I learned also through COVID that breakdowns are not written by anyone who wrote the script. Breakdowns are a service that are provided by people who work at Actors Access or Breakdown Express. So it's a service that's provided. It's not necessarily the scriptwriter who wrote it or the scriptwriter who wrote the breakdown. So I don't pay too much attention to it. I just get like a slight feel of what they're looking for. And then I go in and I read and the prompter's on. So the lines are going up as I read them. There's some really great apps that people like to use. I don't use the app because I play with Lib on my reader on camera and I've booked way more. Lost out on a lot more as well, but I booked way more. My booking rate has gone up because of the freeing nature of that. And also, if we think about it, now they've got a line in a lot of scripts that are more than a few pages long, saying you don't have to be off book.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
yeah,
and I understand you do not have to be off book in that self tape. You have to know who the character is, and you have to sink your teeth into it. Like, and I have this baseline, and I noticed that I think it was in Matt Damon's performances that I watched, and I enjoy Matt Damon's performances. So I watched him, and I feel like his foundation is dad, and he plays versions of dad in every film.
Yes, yeah.
Recently, because that's who he is, and I'm like, why don't I just bring a little bit of myself? So my foundation is always snarky mom.
Yes.
Right. And that's who I am in real life. So I play versions of it and snarky, but also wildly inappropriate mom as well.
Yeah.
My versions are rare in all of my tapes.
Yes. Yeah.
but and that's who, and everywhere that I've booked now, I am unfortunately playing only mom. But then I'm at liberty to do the independent films where I can say, you know what, I'm not playing that kind of mom. And I just had a conversation with someone who we're doing testing with right now for a film, for a short film. I'm like, you know what, I'll come in and I'll play the mom, but I'm not playing wedding season type of auntie. And because I'm a mom. And, moms today are not, stuck in a kitchen, slaving away in front of the stove. We have lives where, yes, we are our children's Uber drivers sometimes. Yes, we are in front of the stove. Yes, we choose to be homemakers, but we also read spicy girl porn shit and listen to books that are
Yes.
also who we are, and that's who I am as a writer as well. So and I can play those nuanced women because that's more a representation of our reality than the stereotypes that existed before this.
Yes. And so before we move into your writing, I wanted to touch on Dosa because what a layered performance that was, right? Like, how was that process from auditioning to getting on set? Like, how did that go?
Was just, oh my gosh, it's so fresh in my mind because it's also now, and I've been watching it in the festival circuit. So Shashank and his team, Shashank is the director. It was a student project, and I went in, and it was sent to Jesse Griffiths. I think either my agent said submit me, and Jesse came back and said I want her to read, or I'm not too sure what that.
He just asked for you to read.
Yeah. So I read for when I looked at Maya, I was like, Delulu, this woman, she wants to go to Disneyland. She has no money. She's a painter, so she's stealing and holding people ransom. I'm like, I love this woman. This is who I want to play. So I auditioned and I went in, and there were two very opposing forces in the room because it was a student film and it was a graduating student project. And Shashank wanted to take full control of the film, and he's director. And I think there was the head of the programming who's like, no, it has to be more nuanced. So they had at the table read, they had me play both versions. And when we got into set, so Shank is the student. He's very brave for doing this. He's like, I want you to play that version that I saw you play, not anything else. And I said, are you sure? I'm like, I'll bring her, but are you sure? And he's like, yeah. And I mean, we tempered it a little bit because I went in and I didn't want to obviously get thrown off that set. I had to deliver and I didn't want to piss people off. So I'm like, do you need me to bring her in?
Yeah.
I didn't want to ruffle feathers, and I was like, you know what? This is at the end of the day a student film. So I don't want them to go back and say she was very difficult to work with, and that kind of carries because I a lot of these student films, and this is something that I learned through the process too, because I played Maya and it was a student film. I wasn't too sure. I'm like, I don't really need to go back to that world, but I really love the way she's been written. So when I just didn't want to upset anyone, and these student films carry on. So all the directors, they go on to be part of a crew and a cast, and I don't want them to carry the narrative that I wasn't delivering, or it was it was difficult to work with, or difficult to she didn't answer to direction, or she didn't pivot at direction. So I kept going in to check. I'm like, okay, do you want me to rein her in? But Shashank was very adamant. He's like, no, you do what you're doing. So I played, and he let me go wild, and everything from wiping her makeup and mascara dripping, and she was so unhinged, Maya.
Yeah.
To like painting and then slapping it on myself so that it would drip down the costume. I'm like, I hope you guys have a laundry bill. I hope you guys have a dry cleaning budget or something, care of that. But they did, and it was thrilling, amazing, and in so many ways so fulfilling to be someone like her, to play someone unhinged and not a stereotypical mom type of role, and to be wild and nuts and care about the most ridiculous thing, like, be full for ransom because she wants to go to Disneyland. Like, who would think of that as your life's ambition? But that's who she was. Maya wanted that. She wanted to paint and be famous. And I think one of the guys on set, because there's a line in the film that's where she's throwing at her tantrum and she goes and sits down and she's like, I'm gonna paint and paint and paint and I'm gonna be famous. And he put that on his shirt. Well, that's good. Yeah, eventually. So Shunk, he got rights to the film, and then it's in the festival circuit, and he's won awards. And one of the festivals in Mississauga, the film festival directors who had a festival in Toronto, he is also starting a festival in Mississauga, and he wants to put it in both places. So it's doing well, and I kind of, because we have to hustle. This is our space, and we have to get our work done. And we have to demand for work a little bit in our space. So I'm kind of keen him to be like, let's do something with Maya. Let's do something with Maya.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll come through, but
And that's the thing. You never know where these projects are going to take you.
very
And
true.
as long as the writing is good and it's inspiring you, it doesn't matter if it's a student film or, a Netflix special.
Yeah. I mean, if I look at my ability to just play the character in the most raw and nuanced ways, all of those skills, all of those liberties, I've only gained on independence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is where I'm like, yeah, it's the space that I enjoy. It's the stuff that I like to do. And you have to, obviously, for career trajectory. I mean, if you're strategic about certain things, then yes, you have to do the union roles. You have to do the commercials. Even if you don't like it, I did a Canadian Tire commercial where I had to put my head on somebody's shoulder, and that was it. And that was fairly recent. So I still do those because it is your career, and you have to be able to, make something out of it.
Pay the bills. Sometimes you just got to pay the bills.
Yep.
On-set experience is always valuable, right? Like if you're on set, you're learning something. And yeah, there's definitely been times where I've been like, should I take this role or whatever? You know what? Every time I've said yes, I'm always happy after that I did, because I'm like, oh, that was such a great experience. And I got to meet this director who's doing really cool stuff, or I got to, meet these other fellow actors and I learned something. And yeah, so I think it's always a valuable experience.
Always. And I think when I'm on set, I'm most calm. Otherwise, my husband has to deal with my drama queen energy. When's the next time you're on set? Do you want to go? So I'm like, why don't you just go?
Yeah. He's like, it's been a few weeks.
Yeah. Wait a bit.
Something's got to give here. That's amazing. I love that he's so supportive, and I know he comes with you to these festivals and screenings and stuff.
I mean, I have to pull his arm sometimes because he's a very, very charming, talkative person, and he doesn't want to take away my steal my thunder. So I tell him, I give him like tips. I'm like, do not say this, do not say this, do not say this, do not talk about the real estate business. He's a realtor. I'm like, do not start real estate conversations. And he has very strict instructions when he gets me.
But other than that, honey, have a good time.
Yeah, have a great time. Yeah, you're welcome to come.
Yeah.
On that note, I did want to just touch, how did it feel when they announced Best Actress? Gauri Prasad, how did that feel?
It was surreal. I don't know. I was like, what? And you know what? The thing is, it was so late in the night when they announced that. Everyone had gone. Everyone had left. And Assis messaged me. He was like, Gauri, you won. And luckily there was something that I could watch the reel because it was announced live on Instagram at that point. All the winners were announced live on Instagram. So I went back and I saw it, and I had to play it again and again and again because I didn't process that Best Actress is Gauri Prasad. I couldn't attach the two together. The words weren't in my mind. It wasn't like it's me who's the best actress. They said my name after the words best actress. So that kind of felt so surreal and so out of body that even hearing it on Instagram and knowing that, that work led to something. All of that pain, those 3 days, it led to something. That kind of made me a little emotional because I'm like, okay.
Yeah, because you work so hard, and then it's like validation. It's like I put my heart and soul into that project, and
Literally.
to have literally, and to have that recognition, I can imagine it must have been such a good feeling and so well deserved. So happy for you, Gauri. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm getting emotional just listening to you retelling of that.
Yeah, it was. As artists, all we want is for people to like. I mean, do you like me? You have that thing about us. Do you like me? Do you like me enough to watch my stuff?
But it's also I saw some really nice comments, especially for Rock the Cradle, where they're just I feel seen.
Yeah.
Some of the things that you were what was demonstrated there, I couldn't put into words, but these are the feelings that I had.
Yeah. There were so many women, especially when we were at the TIFF screening. there were so many women who came up and said, I have, it was older women, younger women, new moms, older moms who, who have kids who are now, they flew the nest and they're all empty nesters. And they're like, till today, I remember your performance because I was there. I was that person and nobody helped me. Nobody was there to help me.
Mhm.
Nobody was there to have these kind of conversations. So for those women, my heart broke. And then for the newer moms who are struggling, I have a bunch of, dance girls. We grew up together, so we're like a crazy bunch. Dance girls. 3 of them had babies together, about a month or so apart. And all of them are new moms, and some of them are like, "Wow, why didn't you tell me this before?" And all I could say to her is, "I'm like, yeah, if I told you, you wouldn't have had a baby."
There are so many things. And I think that that's why, because more, millennial women are talking about the pains of it and making
Yeah.
it known, because we weren't told these things. Like, I was never told that, it would hurt to sit after having a childbirth naturally, right? They're always like, oh, you give birth naturally, you can bounce right back. No.
Yeah.
But now that's why all these younger women are like, I'm not having kids.
yeah.
It's okay. I'm good. I'll be the fun aunt. But
Yeah,
I don't want to be like, I don't want to give birth, or, surrogacy is much better for women who enjoy the process. Just give me the baby. And I'm like, just wait till the baby bites off your nipple.
So it's like, it's always this like informed choice. I just want everyone to have an informed choice.
Yeah.
One of my girlfriends would be like, and I had already had a kid at that point. She's like, I'm going to have like 4 or 5 kids. I was like, sure you are.
We'll see.
You let me know. I'm like, go have one. Just have one first, and then see how you feel after that. I do want to we're running out of time, so I want to cover. There's a couple more things I want to cover before we let you go today. Hopefully, if you're still good for time.
Yeah. We're good.
Okay, great. So writing. So when did this process of writing begin for you? I noticed you posted something about your first book, The War of Goddesses. Is this the first thing? Is this it? Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about what made you want to write? What has been the process to get there? Do you work in silo? Is it a collaborative process? Please share.
Yes. So writing has always been a true love of mine since I was young. I mean, I remember in high school, I wasn't the brightest student, but English essays, everything, I always aced them. So writing has been a big part. And I always, anytime that, in the world where we used to write essays and emails, everyone I wrote an email to were like, this is so compelling. Wow, you write really well, because when you read, I see it and I feel it. So it was always that, but I never pursued it. Writing as a career path came to me very recently, 2021. So I just randomly, I had a lot of thoughts in my head. I said, I'm just going to write. Maybe I'll just journal. And that's how it started. I just started putting down my thoughts and I write, and then I go back and leave it, forget about it, go back to it a few weeks later. And then when I read what I wrote, I'm like, this came out of my mouth, out of my brain. I wrote this. It was one of those, okay, I guess this is something that I can do kind of light bulb moments. And then I eventually sat down and, nailed myself to my chair and my desk. And I said, I'm just going to write something a little bit more meaningful. So I spent COVID writing, and I wrote a manuscript, which 60,000 odd words. It wasn't much. And because I wanted
Subjective.
for a manuscript, it's not much. So, I mean, it poured out of me literally. So, and I didn't think, now that I'm seeing the numbers, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of crazy. But the manuscript, it's like a novella. It's not a full manuscript. Like, it's not Fourth Wing or Onyx Storm or anywhere close to that. Submit it as part of one of the grants that I had applied for. It was a BIPOC skills development grant by the Ontario Arts Council. And I said, okay, I want to use, the money that you give me for art, acting classes, for this class, and then for story to screenplay, manuscript to screenplay class. And I received the grant. So I said, okay. And then what I did with my manuscript was just to see what my reach was, or if I was, again, living in my head, I sent it out to Query. Query is a process where, it's kind of like actors, where we look for agents and we send out our demo reels. A query is for a literary agent. I got all rejections, all. Not one part, but I did get one literary agent who was really interested in getting into the genre. She didn't do romance, and I write romance. And she gave me such beautiful feedback. She says, you are good as a writer. The story just doesn't have legs yet. It's underbaked and you need to work on it. Brilliant feedback. Very, very detailed things that I can action. And then from there, because I had the grant, I got book mentor, and my mentor, Tracy, fantastic. Anyone, please, anyone, baby authors trying to write something, go to her, hands down. So Tracy is guiding me also right now through the entire process. And she said, you can write a book. You need to figure out how to write the book. So that's how the journey started. And I've been on that for a bit. And now it's finally come to the space where it's got legs and the story's shaping up well. I'm doing what is called a beta read, where you send out the first little bit to people who are interested in reading the genre. And you ask them specific questions just to see if what you're putting on paper is what they're receiving and how they're reading it. About the character, about the plot lines, about, spice levels, and are you comfortable with this or not? All of those things. So yeah, and where I'm at. And then one of my readers, it was really sweet. She put it on her Kobo. She just downloaded the manuscript, put it on her Kobo, and that's the picture. She's like, look at what I did. The actual cover's coming, but it was really nice. It was a very, very emotionally surreal moment for me. Oh,
Yeah.
where am I?
Good for you, because I think this is where we're at in this. Like, especially as an actor, you cannot just be one thing anymore in this industry. Like, we've talked about that across multiple episodes. It sounds like, you're finding all the things that you're passionate about, and you're finding all the ways that you can make it happen. Even just getting, the Ontario Arts Council, all of those things. So great. Like, it just shows your tenacity, Gauri. And yeah, really helpful insight for anyone listening that, you got to take the steps, see what happens. Yeah. I mean, actors can handle rejection. So you got those rejections, but you also got a little glimmer. You got that feedback that was helpful. You managed to get a mentor and a coach after. So really great. I also want to talk about Starlight Academy, because I was like, whoa, what is this? So you have a drama school for kids. How did this begin? How do you even develop programming? Like, why did you want to do this? Tell me about that.
So I have a very dramatic 7-year-old at home. And I have nieces and nephews, and their parents tell me that I'm the go-to crazy auntie. So when they need somebody to help them with energy release, like I kind of put them into some sort of activity, and it's very organic. It's nothing that I think about or premeditate or come in prepared with. It's just something that happens on the fly. And then I realized that when they had, I'm not at that stage yet, but my older nieces and nephews have like talent shows and things in school. I went in and I was choreographing one of their performances, and a lot of it was performance related. So I taught them how to do, facial expressions, or draw this from the song, or draw another emotion from the song. And also because when I used to dance, part of the programming was, you assist the lead instructor. So I was an assistant instructor for little kids. And I've always enjoyed that process. I enjoy children. I really do. I enjoy hanging out with them. I enjoy young people's brains. That millennial who's like, oh my God, Gen Zs. No, I am the millennial who'll say, Gen Zs, we live in their world. They don't live in ours. So we got to understand how to process their thoughts and their worlds. So yeah, so I really enjoy young people. And there are a lot of young kids, the same age as my daughter, who need an outlet that is arts based. Because wow, do we have so much funding in our education system for the arts? No. So, and I live in a school district where there's a little bit more privilege. I do see there's a little bit more emphasis on the arts than there is in other school districts. But what is a kid going to learn spending 20 minutes a day, 20 minutes a week, or maybe even 40 minutes a week in one dance class? I feel like there has to be a more wholesome sort of outlet for kids. And I feel like drama is a place where they can be anything. There's a little bit of discipline in how you learn. And so what I did was develop programming based on everything that's taught at Tisch, at Juilliard, all of these great schools of acting, Stella Adler, Stanislavski, all of them. I put all of it together, and I just brought it down to a digestible 7-year-old, or they start at 7, so 7-year-olds level. And it's all in game format. So they come in, they're ready to play, and that's how they're doing. And they end up end of their course, they have a performance that they get excited for. I'm opening it up this summer. I'm opened it up to kids on the spectrum because one of the moms is like, you know what? She comes in, she just wants me to pretend, and she pretends like she's a director. She's got it. It's just that she's autistic, and we don't have a space for them. So I've opened up the programming to kids who are on the spectrum and who would like to explore drama as their thing. I know when growing up, my thing was either dance or it was something to do with performance, and it grounded me.
Mm.
I feel like there's something to be said for growing up as a crazy dance kid or a crazy artistic kid. I have developed a sense of self that is untouchable today. It is why I have the tenacity that I've had. Yes, I have my own, I have my own quirks, and I have so many things that I'm self-conscious about, but I'm not self-conscious about who I am as a person. I could give like I couldn't care less if I'm being told or trolled. And there's so many times, I remember the Rogers commercial that I did, and it was so upsetting for so many people the moment that it went up on YouTube. The comments on there were extremely racist, saying that this is not the norm, what is, I clearly upset some malvertent sentiments because, the color of my skin tone wasn't right for them. So there's so many things that you face in life, but never once did any of these comments affect who I was as a person. I'm like, it's okay, it's not for you, it's not for you, it's okay. But that's also my Aquarian attitude. I feel it's a little bit in there.
I'm also an Aquarian.
Like it, yeah. So you understand, Aquarians are built slightly differently because I subscribe to that sort of mentality where you have to have this sense of self that is solid. And I feel like being in a drama program where you can express all versions of yourself, and then how a teacher rein it in a little bit for a performance sake, to never be judged for doing something wrong because there is no wrong way to pretend, right? So
Mhm. That's
why I
great.
started- that's why I started the drama program. Also, truth be told, I started the drama program because things are changing in our industry, and I think I would like to acknowledge that. There's so much talk about AI, how AI is going to deal with things. There's so much talk about tariffs. We had COVID, pre-COVID, post-COVID, 2 strikes. Okay, we're coming back from the strikes. Oh, IPA agreements are not in place. Oh, this is tariffs now. There's always going to be uncertainty, and we need to find our way through the uncertainty. So the writing, the drama program, doing commercials, even though I don't think that it's fulfilling enough sometimes, all of that is because I need to find some stability. All of us need to find some stability. There's so much uncertainty. It's one thing to ride the wave when you're younger and you don't have kids and responsibilities and a mortgage. It's a whole different ballgame when you're older, when you have made those life choices that you need to be responsible for.
Yeah, you got a mortgage.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're lucky enough to have a mortgage.
If you're lucky enough to have
Mhm.
kids, you have to, there's bills to
Yeah.
pay. There's
A family to provide for. Yeah.
and provide for. There's a fulfilling life that you would like to provide your child because you've chosen to have the child. So
Mhm.
it was life choices that led to that decision, but also I felt like it's something wholesome and fulfilling and actually.
Yeah, and fulfilling and benefiting children, getting them off their devices, which was one thing that I love how you sold it that way as well. It's like, let's get the kids off their phones and in community. And I think that's great. We do have to wrap up. So, just our final question, it's a question we ask every guest on the show. When you hear the phrase hitting her mark, what does that mean for you, Gauri? How do you define success in your life? It could be personally or professionally, whatever you want.
Wow, beautiful question. Hitting a mark to me is acknowledging that you have a moving goalpost, that your mark is never going to stay stagnant. It's always going to grow with you as a person as you grow through life. And I think hitting your mark, acknowledging that every woman will hit her mark one day or another, one way or another, and there's no one way to hit your mark. I think that's what we have to take away. And I keep saying this to my kid as well. You're not a loser if you don't win. You're a loser if you don't play the game. So play the game. You don't have to be first. You don't have to be second, third, fourth. Doesn't matter. Just play the game. And I think you do hit your mark when you understand that it's, people say failing upwards. You don't fail. You're just learning. So hitting your mark is learning.
Amazing. I love that. Yeah, that's a great answer. Thank you so much.
But thank you, ladies. It was so lovely to talk to you. It was really great. Thank you so much for very insightful conversation.
What a lovely conversation with Gauri. I just feel like Rock the Cradle is a movie that we should all watch. And I think it just allows us to feel seen and heard, because whether or not we suffered from like actually being diagnosed with postpartum depression, I think on some level, like nobody can prepare you to be a mom.
Yeah.
Your whole life gets turned upside down. And yes, you can have the supports, and yes, you can have, a wonderful partner, but it's just, your hormones are out of whack. This
Yeah.
thing that you have been nurturing inside of you. I mean, I always do think of like Alien, like this thing has just exited your body, like it. And I don't know what your teeth are like, but I didn't really believe it. I heard some other moms that had kids before me talk about this and like how their teeth were like falling out, or they were like getting crushed.
God.
I have had a few teeth, like just pieces of it come off. And it's because when you have a baby, they're taking your nutrients.
Yeah. Well, I found that for me, it was like hair loss. Like you would lose some of that hair in your temples because, again, like you said, they're taking your nutrients. But I just remember, yeah, the hormones, like the dips in your hormones, but also, it touches on that in the film as well. But the idea where everyone is all about the baby. Like you've just gone through this major life moment. You've delivered a child. You brought a life into this world. Your body has been destroyed. Your body is going through so many changes, and you are now responsible for this life, right? And so all the attention, of course, goes on the baby. But you've gone through something very traumatic. Like it's a big deal emotionally, mentally, physically. And it's something that even though you have your partner, and my partner is amazing and was amazing when I had my child, and family comes in to help, you're on your own. Like you're also the primary caregiver at that stage, where especially like I was nursing, I had trouble nursing, pumping, you're exhausted. The level of tired is like a new level that you never even could prepare for. And so really it's a very difficult thing. I love that her performance is so raw in that movie, and she really captures that feeling of what that's like. It's an overwhelming experience. It's beautiful, but it can also be really difficult and overwhelming.
It's overwhelming, and it's also like you can't put it into words.
Yeah. Yeah. But she did something with that performance.
I have to credit my friend who, again, like some of my friends had babies before me, and just this image of like we're like cows, like we're like udders, like we've just become like this food source.
Yeah.
For the thing that we
The
grew,
baby.
we chose to grow. We love it. It's great, and now we've been reduced to like a cow.
Yeah. On that note,
Don't you want to be a mom?
speaking of transitions, that beautiful comment of us being cows. Speaking of transitions, I know that Gauri has transitioned to different artistic endeavors. She's also a writer, which is amazing. She's also this Starlight Academy, getting kids involved in drama like at a young age. Incredible.
And that's great, because you know what? Not all kids like sports, right? Like that's the
No.
typical thing. And, I've got two boys, and it is very typical. My older one is super into sports. My little one is not. He's starting soccer, but like, I don't think that's what he's into. But that's what his current friends are. And my husband and I, we talk about this a lot. And I'm like, honestly, he's a thespian. Like he's a drama kid. He just doesn't know it. Like he doesn't want to admit it because none of his friends are doing it. So he did theater school. He's got one boy, because he's also super shy. So he only wants to do what his brother is doing. But then at the same time, it's like, you are not your brother. Your brother likes different things.
Yeah.
So having this, like an academy like that,
So great.
is great. Yeah.
And I think she's also, what's cool about Gauri, I thought too, is when she talked about knowing yourself, and how she approaches auditioning and how she doesn't over rehearse, she doesn't over learn. She likes to keep it fresh. She wants to play. I think it's so important as artists, we embrace our own journey, like our own artistic, how we approach the work, because what works for me might not work for you, But what's important is that we're enjoying our process, because so much of it is our process, right? Yeah, like auditioning.
Just auditioning. And I love how she sort of had like that tagline for herself that she's like a sassy mom. It's sort of that like leaning into your brand, right? Figuring out what your baseline is. Yeah, depending on who I am with, where I am, I'm going to be a different version of myself. It's always going to be me at the end of the day, but I'm a different version of that.
Yeah.
And I like how she was able to pin it. And it was like such a fun like tagline to have.
Yeah.
My tagline is like caring mom who like lets the stress get to her sometimes. Like, how boring. Ginny, Jesus. That's why you keep booking what you book.
But there's so many facets to you. You're so much more than the caring mom who, like, come on, you're the sassy lady too. I think the most important thing is do what lights you up. Find a way to work so that you're alive, so that your process is exciting for you, and do it for you. Because what's the point? We're not doing this, yes, we want to book the job. Yes, we want to, be working all the time.
We want to have the accolades.
Yeah, but auditioning is the job. Auditioning is the job. So find joy in that.
And we've heard confirmation from people that sometimes the best actor or the best performance isn't the one that books. This is not the industry, and we are artists, right? So art is very subjective. You can't please everyone. So
please yourself. Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's wrap it up there. Thanks everyone for listening. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Thank you so much.